That ERS failure must have been infuriating. We should focus on upgrades to our powertrain. That should help reduce the likelihood of faults like these cropping up again in the future.
Hello and welcome to episode number 6, I think this is now, that we're on in this Formula 1 2022 MyTeam career mode. We did have an ERS fault in Canada, so we actually get a couple of free resource points for that, so a blessing in disguise kinda. It only affected us for half the race, but if you did miss that episode, be sure to go and check it out. We're just going to fill out some of the activities in the activity timeline, the external training for the driver, so on and so forth. I'm going to do what I usually do, and we don't have a whole lot of time actually, but we're going to miss out these kind of department focus ones and go for the ones that are going to give us kind of the most acclaim and that kind of thing. But anyway, we've got the British Grand Prix today, our home Grand Prix, so I'm very much looking forward to that one. And let's just check the R&D real quick. I think we did have a couple of upgrades come in actually, so we had a weight, I think that was a weight reduction upgrade come in. And yeah, we can focus on getting some more upgrades. And yeah, I think I'm going to go for maybe a downforce upgrade, rear downforce. We have fallen behind a bit with his aerodynamics. That should come in for Hungary, hopefully, which is going to be very helpful there. A pretty tight circuit. We have plenty of R&D points, so I'm thinking of actually going for another weight reduction upgrade. That'll really push us forward in the kind of chassis department. We do have this weight redistribution, which is a little bit cheaper, but it's not as powerful as an upgrade, so while we can afford this one, we might as well get the weight reduction. And engine wise, we actually already have a raw engine power upgrade coming in. If we look at the progress history, we are still kind of neck and neck with Williams. Aston Martin have really made a lot of improvements this season, so yeah, it's going to take quite a bit of catching them. But in terms of our sponsor goal, we're not far behind. We've already got 1 point to finish, but we have an event here. Next Formula 1 driver has requested a tour of the aero department. It could be a nice morale boost for the team. So yeah, we'll give him a tour, and hopefully it should perk the team up a little bit, especially since we've got some upgrades pending.
Our new parts have completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race week.
Alright, so we have another event. They want some more simulator time to test out a new setup. Or I mean less simulator time for driver development. So I don't think racecraft is really going to affect us results for the second driver too much. So we might as well get a discount on this aero upgrade. And with that we can continue to advance time income the resources. The cylinder header's power upgrade does come in, so that's going to be helpful. And yeah, with that I think we can probably go to the race weekend. I'm just going to double check that we can't afford any more upgrades. We only have a couple of R&D points to spend, so we do have some big discounts on some of these from running the practice programs. But I don't think we're going to be able to afford anything just yet, but that's okay. We can go and run some more kind of practice programs and get some more R&D and focus a bit. But yeah, before we go into the race weekend, with it being my home Grand Prix, we're actually going to run a special livery for us home Grand Prix. A nice custom livery I've made, and I have to say I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. We've got us sponsors on there. Renault now appearing on the car as a bit of an engine supplier, but as you can see, we've kind of got this Union flag kind of draped over the engine cover on the back of the car there. I think that looks really cool. We've got the black, white and blue with IY Racing, our branding, and the Yorkshire Rose on there, and I think this yeah, I think this has come out really, really nice. Yeah, I really enjoy how this looks. Maybe we'll even run it for the rest of the season. You know, it looks a lot kind of It looks a lot more full than the livery we were running, the kind of bog standard one. But yeah, let me know what you think about this livery in the comments below. Be interested to know your thoughts. But yeah, with that we can go into qualifying. So here we go then, into qualifying, and I probably know Silverstone better than any other circuit on this game. I've done this circuit a lot in other simulators, so I actually turned the AI up a little bit from Canada to see if that helps out. But we're actually going for 2 consecutive laps here, back to back. So we're not going to have as much tyre life, but we're going to use a bit more of that fuel, because the minimum amount of fuel you can put in, usually it's good enough for 2 or more laps, so might as well use it and see what happens. And yeah, hopefully this is the day we can get into Q2 again, like we did with with Bahrain at the start of the season. That'd be nice at my home Grand Prix, but it's 3.5 tenths gain so far, as we come into Stowe, I believe this is, if I can remember the corner names. No, this is Cops. Stowe's at the end of the Hanger Straight. But we come into what is probably the best sequence of corners in the world. Maggots and Beckett's, and then I believe this is Chapel, I think, coming onto the Hanger Straight. And then this is Stowe at the end here. But we're up by half a second then, and we'll see if we can get Stowe right. Quite a tricky corner. You need to take a bit of a later apex than that, and you can see on the Delta I actually lost a load of time. But coming into the final chicane, then we actually gain a bit of time there around Vale and Club, I believe that is. And I'm actually feeling pretty confident with that time. We're quite high up the order there, so I'm going to risk it, and I'm going to see if we can get through into Q2 and have 2 sets of tyres to use in Q2 to maybe get into Q3. And as we go past this screen, we're actually in P14, so we do manage to get into Q2 our home Grand Prix. So here we are then in Q2, and I am actually only going to go out for 1 lap right at the end here, so I'm putting everything on the table because I think I have the pace round here to get into Q3, even with this absolute dog of a car. To be honest, it doesn't feel too bad round here as we come into the final 2 corners once again, and yeah, we're going to get it across the line, and to my surprise it's going to be P9, so we are actually going to be in Q3 for our home Grand Prix, so we're really happy about that. And yeah, it's a bit of a surprise. I kind of took the risk, and the risk was paid off, so we're actually going to have 2 fresh sets of tyres to use as we come in then to as final lap. And this has got to be a good lap as we come into T1 then. Total commitment through there, flat out. I am running a little bit of a higher downforce setup as we come into the tight right-hander of Farm, and then round this kind of tight left-hander onto the, I believe this is the Wellington Straight, as we charge then towards the Brooklands and Luffield section here, getting a nice wide line, tightening up on exit, and then you can really open up Luffield. This is through the right-hand kink of Woodcote, and then we charge down this kind of mini half straight into Copse, down into 7th, kind of using all the track available to you, and then come into my favourite section of the track. You can keep it down into 7th and down into 6th, flick it down into 5 for Chapel, coming down onto the Hanger Straight. This is then charging down DRS open as we come into the pretty famous corner Stowe that I forgot at the start, as we come then down into a Vale this is, and yeah, the final corner Club, where it can be quite a tricky corner this. You've got to be careful on the power, otherwise the rear will step out and we're going to see where we've qualified for our home Grand Prix, and it is only going to be P10, but I am more than happy with that. Following the points finish in Canada, maybe we can get points here, but let's go into the race.
Great Britain then, one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every year of the Formula 1 World Championship. And that record extends further for today's Grand Prix. The 3.6 mile long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and of Copse flat out. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Sainz, George Russell and Perez, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Gasly and Evans, Ricciardo, Ocon, Sebastian Vettel and Stroll, Bottas, Joe, Alex Albon and Mick Schumacher, Yuri Vips, Latifi, Tsunoda and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So strategy-wise, it's one of the, if not the longest pit lane in Formula 1. I'm pretty sure it's the longest. So we're just going to do the one stop, but we're going to start on the hards again. That was actually the default strategy option this time. But anyway, here we go to the 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go for the British Grand Prix, our home Grand Prix here at Silverstone, and we don't get off to an amazing start, it's got to be said. A couple of Aston Martins getting past us there, as it's very much their home Grand Prix, kind of just across the road from their factory basically. But we re-overtake Stroll then. We're up into P13, so we have lost out on a couple of positions as we get round the tight left-hander then, going through Village. This is onto the Wellington Straight. A very fast-looking Alfa Romeo behind us. He had a little look round the outside, trying to sort of nudge us through this corner. We get it nice and tight into Brooklands and try and defend, and we just about hang on then to a P13. So we are down a couple of positions, less than ideal, but we are on the slower tyre at the start of this race, as is Ocon actually up in front of us. So yeah, maybe he's going to slow down some of these cars in front. Maybe if they start scrapping, we'll be able to at least stay in touch, if not fight for some positions. But here we go then, on to the second lap. Once again, Joe looking pretty quick through there, but we take a bit of a wide line through Abbey, going off the track a little bit there, just trying to leave him some space. As Alonso now has an issue. We have a bit of a snap of oversteer there. Zhou Guanyu going for a bit of a switchback, but he doesn't quite have the grip out the corner. As we go down the Wellington Straight then, we're going to squeeze him to the inside, come back to the outside and take a really nice wide line around Brooklands, and that's going to get us ahead into Luffield, where we can keep it a bit more defensive, and once again we hold on. So my kind of previous experience at this circuit coming into play a little bit there, knowing which lines to take as we go through Copse then, and it feels a bit awkward on these hard tyres, not quite got the same amount of grip, but we're not doing too bad. There's Alonso in front there, I think, slowing down, and he's actually causing a bit of chaos there with Ocon and Vettel down the Hanger Straight. This is the back straight, and yeah, they go 3 wide into Stoke. This doesn't normally end well, but they both managed to get ahead of Alonso, and now we're going to look for a move into the second to last corner this is, and yeah, we managed to get ahead of Fernando Alonso. So up into P12 then, a couple more positions to chase down to get back into the points. But yeah, we've actually got Zhou Guanyu as well now. Meanwhile, here's your race leader Verstappen, followed by Leclerc, and then it's the home favourite Lewis Hamilton. Then you've got the other Ferrari of Sainz, the other Red Bull of Perez, and George Russell. And Lando Norris keeping in touch with these guys at the front, so maybe he's going to do quite well in this Grand Prix, maybe waiting for an opportunity. But there's us in P12, and we've actually caught up to Ocon quite a little bit here, so we could potentially be looking for a move on him as we come down then into Vale, looking for a move up the inside. But we didn't commit to that, as I knew that gap was always going to close. And I've just noticed now on this front wing we kind of have the Estonian flag on there, so that's going to be nice for his teammate Vips. And yeah, I've kind of only just noticed our colour scheme kind of matching that of the Estonian flag, that flag, the national flag of our teammate. But anyway, we're right on the back of Ocon, looking for a move around the outside. We don't quite get the exit out the corner though, as we'll come onto the Wellington straight. Then he's going to have DRS as well, so we're probably not going to be able to make the move on the straight, but we're going to go right the way around the outside once again at Brooklands, keep it nice and tight on the inside at Luffield, and yeah, up into 4th gear, we clamp the power and away we go. So once again, my knowledge of this track kind of really helping us to gain some positions. And it's got to be said, the setup I'm running as well, with a little bit of a kind of increased downforce setup, and I think that's actually helping out as well. The car feels absolutely amazing around here, as we get a pretty decent launch onto the back straight there, onto the hangar straight. And yeah, we're going to chase down this man Vettel. Obviously with the extra drag we might not be able to pull up, but we have DRS, and we're going to try and look up the inside then of Stowe. That's not quite going to work out for us. Maybe we can make a move into Vale as Vettel locks up. We kind of thread the needle up the inside, it'll turn to the outside for Club, but I don't think we can quite get the move done. But that's put Ocon right back in his mirrors, as we're battling here for, I think, P12 this is. We're going to do the same thing, push him kind of tight into Abbey, and that's really going to ruin his entry speed into the corner, and we managed to sail round the outside. So once again, my track knowledge coming in and helping us out in this Grand Prix, as we chase them after Sebastian Vettel once again into Copse. And we carry so much more speed than him round Copse. I think it's the setup and the higher downforce, as we go down the gear, and then down the gear again for Maggots and Beckett's, into Chapel, down the gear once more, see if we can get the launch out the corner. And it's an amazing launch, DRS open now, a wheel on the grass, as we power our way past Sebastian Vettel, and we're going to come into hangar straight then, and we managed to finish the move off into Stowe. Only Vale and Club to go until the end of the lap. Can we hold on? It looks like just about, placing the car right in the middle of the track, giving him nowhere really to go, and that's going to be another position gained up into P10 now, as once again he's going to try to come back at us into Abbey, but we squeeze him tight, go around the outside and carry the speed, and that's us then into the points quite comfortably. And all we've got to do now is hang on basically till the end of the race. I'm not sure if we're going to catch Ricciardo, especially if I'm going to make mistakes like that. Massive rush of understeer there. Vettel's going to come right back at us down the Wellington straight then, as we go into Brooklands. Once again we sail it round the outside, get the inside line for Luffield, and we just manage to hold on once again. So taking all the right lines, and yeah, there's nothing really Vettel can do there. As we carry on then onto lap 8, this is Lance Stroll, his teammate then, he's making a move on Schumacher and Guan Yu Zhou down the hangar straight into Stowe. He's going to go up the inside, and it looks like Lance Stroll gets the move done, but it's going to be very short-lived for him, as on lap 9 this is, he's actually going slowly, and I think that's an engine failure for the Aston Martin, so not ideal for them at the home Grand Prix. Meanwhile on lap 10 we have Fernando Alonso. After his issue earlier, he's kind of making his way back through the field, and he's right on the back of his teammate. This is Yuri Vips, and we're going to see what he can do as he's they're now down the hangar straight. He's got the DRS open. As they come into Stowe, he's just going to go right the way around the outside. Nice and easy for Alonso. And his teammate then on lap 11 takes a bit of inspiration from him, and he's chasing down Vettel. These two guys behind us, we've managed to open up a 4-second gap, this is, so these two scrapping has helped us out. But once again, it's the exact same move on the outside of Stowe, and Ocon, with a bit of deja vu, gets the move done on Sebastian Vettel. Meanwhile, this is Mick Schumacher then. He's looking to make a move on Zhou Guanyu. He's got Albon quite close behind as well, so Albon not doing too bad in that Williams car. And yeah, once again, it's going to be deja vu on the outside of the hangar straight, taking that line through Stowe, and he's going to get up a position. So yeah, the AI really kind of liking that overtake at Stowe, coming out of the DRS zone. We kind of prefer that Brooklands into Luffield move, but it's really good to watch, really good to see, as some of these medium tyre runners coming into the pits on lap 12 then. That was Albon and Bottas. And the leaders as well, Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton, they're going to come in. Obviously their teammates are going to stay out for one lap extra. And as is Lando Norris, actually, he stays out for an extra lap. So yeah, we'll see how this plays out. As on lap 13 then, they come in, and that's going to mean we're going to have a new leader of the British Grand Prix as we come across the start-finish line, and we're actually going to come in this lap. But yeah, we lead our home Grand Prix. IY Racing, the British driver Jord Evans from the British team, the Yorkshire-based team, and we lead our home Grand Prix just for a lap. But I think it is important that we kind of savour this moment. Maybe, maybe listen to the crowd. I'm sure they'll be enjoying seeing a home favourite leading. Well, we're not really a home favourite, we're a bit of an underdog in this race, but that's fine. I'm sure the fans will appreciate this. But we are going to come in, as you can see, no grip left on these tyres. And at the end of the lap 14, we do come in. And the question is, though, where are we going to come out? We had Gasly and Ricciardo ahead of us, and we had Ocon and Vettel behind us. As we come out, there's Gasly, and we've actually managed to jump Daniel Ricciardo in the pits. We'll see what the gap is once we kind of get onto the lap properly and let everything settle down. But it looks like we managed to jump Ricciardo by about a second and a half, that is. So we've done a pretty crazy job there to jump one of the McLarens. And we're going to be on the medium tyres then, so we're going to be on a compound softer than the cars around us. As this is Sainz and Russell, they're going side by side. And maybe Russell looking for a move on the Ferrari. But Sainz holds on just for now, and Perez has somehow managed to jump both of them in the pits. So you've kind of got a Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, and then Norris still kind of hanging around just behind them, maybe waiting for his opportunity. But yeah, our medium tyres, we're in P9 now as Ocon, he pit a little bit later, but Ocon's in, so we're up into P9. And because we're on the softer compound, that's let us catch up to this man Pierre Gasly. So maybe we can even get P8 in this race. That's going to be 4 championship points for us. That'd be an absolutely amazing result for us here at the Home Grand Prix. And not only that, but it would also be a sponsor objective for the season done. Coming to Maggots and Beckett's into, I forgot the name of this corner, Chapel, that is, onto the hangar straight then. Can we get a move done on Gasly? DRS is open, using plenty of ERS as we come down into Stowe on the inside. Park it on that apex, and that's going to be us up into P8 in this Grand Prix then. And we're on the final stretch then. Now we did have the forecast saying we have some rain coming So I'm not sure if that's going to catch us towards the end of the race or not, but it seems to be hanging off for now. Meanwhile, here's Sergio Perez. He's pretty close to Hamilton as they go around Luffield. And maybe he's going to look to make a move on the home favourite, the 7-time world champion, as they go through then onto the run into Copse, and is actually going to make the move, go up the inside of Copse. It's amazing to see a Red Bull and Mercedes go side by side through there and not manage to punt each other off, but they go through Maggots and Beckett's then around Chapel down the hanger straight. But Perez has shot himself in the foot a little bit here because he's not going to have the DRS. Hamilton and Sainz are, and Hamilton's going to pull to the outside. This is as he goes around the outside of Stowe, but Perez holds on, keeps his line, and that's Perez getting himself into P3 onto the podium. Carlos Sainz behind, he's kind of watching this and licking his lips a little bit maybe as they go across onto the start-finish straight. Sainz pulls to the inside. He's going to look to make a move at Abbey as they go side by side through there. He gets up the inside, but you'll see Hamilton comes back at him into Farm. Sainz, he locks up a little bit there, and I think he's just taken a chunk out of Hamilton's front wing. And if that is the case, that's going to be very unfortunate for this man Lewis Hamilton, who goes from P3 into P5 in the space of a few corners, and that is Hamilton into the pits with front wing damage. What that means for us is that we're in P8 in this Grand Prix. Hamilton's actually, because the pit lane's so long, that's actually going to promote us up into P7. So, you know, a calamity for Hamilton, but for us this would be as best finish of the season. As now Russell and Sainz are going at it. Russell may be looking for a bit of revenge for his teammate as he goes round the outside of Brooklands for the inside at Luffield. Kind of, that's our move, that Russell doing. And he manages to get ahead of Sainz. Hamilton comes out of the pits then in P13, just behind this man, his old teammate, Valtteri Bottas. As we go back to this kind of battle with Russell and Sainz on the hanger straight. This is Sainz with the DRS up to the inside of Stowe, and he gets the move done on George Russell. So Sainz back into P4. We've now got this kind of checkerboard of Red Bull and Ferrari right at the front there. And yeah, that's going to be another move for Sainz. Meanwhile, Hamilton looking to get around his old teammate Bottas down the hanger straight and around the outside at Stowe. And that's a job done for Hamilton. He can now go and chase after Vettel while he's on this recovery drive, and that's exactly what he does then as they come out of Copse into Maggots and Beckett's. Hamilton just has a little bit of a look, but he keeps it in. Pretty smart move, because he knows as he comes out of Chapel, he's going to get the DRS on the hanger straight. And once again we see the AI make this move around the outside of the hanger straight into Stowe. It's just going to swoop in and get the move done up into P11. So at the very least, hopefully he'll be looking to rescue a point. But lap 24, we have Lando Norris going up the inside of Abbey and maybe catching George Russell napping just a little bit. As I did say, Norris were kind of sticking behind those top runners, maybe looking for his opportunity, and he saw one and he took it. So Norris up into P5 now. So that's a pretty amazing job from him, as we're going to skip forward onto lap 25. He's not out of the fire yet, as to come into the tight left-hander and going around Village, this is, onto the Wellington straight. They both have the DRS though, so I don't think Russell is going to be able to make a move into Brooklands as Norris comes in then, but he's lost the rear end. The rear end's gone. He's gone all the way around, and he's just managed to get back on track and carry on like nothing happened. Pretty crazy incident there, but yeah, that's Norris back down into P6 then. Meanwhile, while that was happening, you see Russell and Norris swap positions there. This is Yuri Vips's teammate. He's looking to make a move on Zhou Guanyu. We haven't seen much of Vips this season. Obviously we haven't exactly given him the best car, but even so, it makes a move on the Alfa Romeo, and there's Albon quite a bit behind as well. So Vip's up into P80, and you might see there a couple of raindrops. The rain is coming down, so we're going to have a very rainy finish to this race. It was forecast, but I didn't think it were going to make it in time. As you see on the last lap, we're coming through the last couple of corners now, and it is very much damp conditions on track. It's time for the intermediates. No point kind of pitting though at this stage. And yeah, we're going to come home for our best result of the season at our home Grand Prix. P7, that's our sponsor golden for the season, and that's some extra championship points for
Well,
us.
they've done a brilliant job, I must say, under some intense pressure to take a well-earned victory here at the British Grand Prix. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
So it's another win for Max Verstappen and Red Bull. Leclerc on the second step. So yeah, obviously with Leclerc's DNF, that hasn't helped him in the championship. But Red Bull looking very, very strong. But for us, what a race! Best result of the season at our home Grand Prix. I think in the next few races we're probably going to get a bit of a reality check, and kind of things will come back down to earth a little bit. But yeah, 6 championship points for us there. Very, very happy with that. If you enjoyed the episode, guys, remember to leave a like, hit subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.